The story I have for you tonight takes place in 1986 in the small town of Pepperell, Massachusetts. It's about the Andrews family. You have the father, Brian, and his two teenage daughters, Annie and Jessica. This poor family was grieving. The mother had just passed away from cancer, so now they are living in this big old empty house, trying to figure out how to be a family without her. The house feels too quiet, too big, and then the silence breaks. At first it's subtle, just sounds. The girls would be in their bedrooms at night, lights out, trying to sleep, and from right behind their heads, they'd hear it. Rhythmic, deliberate, coming from inside the walls. They tell their dad, but he says it's mice or old pipes settling in the cold. But then, the house gets aggressive. Furniture doesn't just move, it's thrown. Doors they locked in the morning are standing wide open in the afternoon. The TV turns itself on in the middle of the night, blasting static into the empty living room. The girls are terrified. They are convinced the house is haunted, and in their grief, a desperate thought takes root. Is it Mom? Is she trying to reach out? The breaking point comes in the kitchen. They walk in and freeze. On the wall, written in red, "Help me." The family is living in a state of absolute chaos. They are prisoners in their own home, tormented by something they can't see. So one night, the two teenage girls decide to confront it. They hold a makeshift séance in their bedroom. They sit on the floor in the pitch black, holding hands, shaking. They ask out loud to an empty room, "Is there anybody here?" From right behind the headboard of their bed, inches from their ears, comes a loud. They ask again, "Are you a spirit?" The girls scream and run. The father, Brian, is a logical man, but logic can't explain why his daughters are terrified to close their eyes. He couldn't explain it until a few nights later. Brian is walking past one of the bedrooms. He stops. There's a closet door slightly ajar, and looking closely, he realizes there are marks on the floor, scuff marks, like a panel in the back of the closet keeps getting moved. He walks over. The air feels cold. He pushes the closet to the side, and he sees a small crawl space hidden in the back wall. He reaches out, and he shines his flashlight into the dark. The beam of light hits a figure crouched in the insulation. It wasn't a ghost. It was a 17-year-old boy named Daniel. But Daniel wasn't wearing normal clothes. He had been going through the dead mother's belongings. He was wearing her dress. He had painted his face with her makeup, and perched on his head was her blonde wig. When Brian found him, Daniel was staring back at him, a smiling, grotesque mimic of his dead wife, holding a hatchet. And here's the reality that sunk in later. For months, this stranger in the wig had been living in the narrow voids between the studs. Every night, while the family slept, the figure in the dress would crawl out of the walls. He would stand over their beds. He would watch the girls sleep. He would eat their leftovers. When the girls held that séance and asked, "Is anybody here?" it was him. He was crouched on the other side of the plaster, inches away from their heads, tapping on the wood. The police eventually dragged him out. He's in prison now for a different, even worse crime he committed later. But the Andrews family, they never stepped foot in that house again. So the next time you hear tapping in your walls, pray it's a ghost. Because ghosts can't hurt you. But the thing living in the crawl space can.